I'm actually curious of how long this review is going to be now that I'm actually standing here and press play. Because I'm just like, I don't really have anything to say. And that's not a good thing. Welcome to my Safe Gayven. Oh, I cracked on that one. But anyway, guys, hello. It is now, 9:14 in the morning. I literally just got home from work maybe 20 minutes ago. And I was like, if I sit down even for a second, I'm gonna fall the fuck out. I'm gonna pass out. I'm gonna be asleep. So I'm like, you know what? Get up. Let me get this review out now. Let me record it, edit it, and get it out. Otherwise, you're not getting it. But we're here to talk episode 3 of Loki, which just aired a couple hours ago. So this is a full spoiler review and discussion. So if you have not seen episode 3 of Loki yet, titled Lamentis, now will be your time to dip. But also, really quick, before you do dip, if you plan on watching it later on today, I do plan on having this video out before noon. Join me tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my regular co-host, Ron, from You Don't Read Comics. We will be going live tonight, as we do every single week when a Marvel show comes out, to fully discuss the latest episode. Once again, that is tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, I don't really got that much to say about this episode. I'm actually curious of what Ron's gonna say. He actually just sent me a message saying he hasn't seen it yet. But yeah, I was kind of bored with this episode. Okay, bored is probably too strong of a word. I wasn't bored. There was certainly some character moments that I really enjoyed, and there was like a one-take action scene towards the end that I thought was shot pretty well and it was fun. But overall, I felt like nothing really happened in this episode. And then on top of that, this was the shortest episode of the 3 episodes that we had so far. This episode was only 38 minutes. And also, for the most part, there wasn't really that many Easter eggs to even pinpoint in this episode compared to the other episodes. Yes, they did go to that planet called Lamentis, which appeared in one issue of a comic, of an Elseworlds comic specifically, and it's a planet located in Kree space, so I guess that's something to point out. But let's talk through it really quick. So this episode basically starts where last week's episode ends. Loki follows Lady Loki, who we now know she calls herself Sylvie, followed her, and the portal that she created was to go into the TVA, because at the beginning of this episode, you see what Lady Loki was doing with C15, C30, whatever the Time Bureau numbers characters is. I can't remember. It was C30, C20, something like that. She was infiltrating her mind and trying to get her to tell her about the Timekeepers. And right before the 2 Lokis were going to be stopped by Ravonna Renslayer, Loki used the time pad and opened up the portal to Lamentis 1, which, according to Lady Loki, which was the worst of all the apocalypses that the TVA had on record. And basically the entire planet got destroyed from the destruction of their moon, and nobody made it out. Which now would include the 2 Lokis, because the battery of the time pad that Loki used to get them there is now dead. So now they have to figure out a way to charge the battery before the impending planetary apocalypse. And I'm hearing myself talk right now, and I'm like, man, am I losing my voice? What is going, I feel like I'm strained, I feel like I'm cracking right now as I talk. It might be the strawberry smoothie that I drank before I got here when I stopped at McDonald's on my way home from work. So it could be a little bit of the mucus from all that whipped creams, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like I sound weird. But yeah, throughout this episode, you learned something that I kind of feared that they were going to do with regards to Lady Loki. If you check out my YouTube shorts, I did make a video about my fears with regards to this introduction of a Lady Loki and how I believe that Marvel's going to try to have their cake and eat it too by giving us a Lady Loki, but it's not really going to be Tom Hiddleston. So it's hey guys, you're getting Lady Loki, but it's not our Loki, it's another Loki. And it seems like that's basically what they're doing, while also giving us another character from the comics known as Sylvie Lustian, who is the character that Loki created in the comics to spy on the Young Avengers. And so you get that with this, where Lady Loki basically says, don't call me Loki, I'm Sylvie now. So they're pretty much combining the 2 characters into one, which again is something I suspected they were doing, because I was also like, if this is supposed to be Lady Loki. Why is she blonde? Sylvie Lushton is blonde in the comics, and then it basically confirmed my prediction. So far, at least, because I could be completely wrong come episode 4, 5, 6. I was about to say 7, but there's only 6 episodes. So, with that said, like, we're already at the halfway point, which I'm like, come on, Marvel. Like, what are you doing? Like, Marvel, y'all need to get it together, because it seems like now we're 3 shows in, and it seems like y'all have a great start. But it's like, again, we're not done with the series yet, but it's like, you cannot stick the landing. Like, I think about the 3rd episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and although I didn't hate it, I was just like, this episode was forgettable. And that didn't necessarily happen with WandaVision, because WandaVision did have more episodes, but the 3rd episode of WandaVision is when things like really started to ramp up. But yeah, like I said, overall, I just felt like nothing really happened in this episode. Like, this episode, to me, felt like a complete waste of time. Even despite the nuggets of great information that we got in this episode. Like, for example, everything that we learned with Mobius from last week, where he said everybody that works in the TVA were created by the Timekeepers. I mean, you already knew the Timekeepers weren't people that you should trust. Plus, this is a Marvel Cinematic Universe. Nothing usually is what it seems. But then, and so you get to the conversation between the 2 Lokis, and Sylvie basically reveals that everybody that works in the TVA are variants, but they had their memories altered, which would include Mobius himself. So it also implies that Mobius doesn't even know that he's a variant. And then Mobius is a variant. Who is he a variant of? Is it a major character, or is it just some random character that we have no connection to within the MCU? Maybe we'll find out that Mobius is another older variant of Loki, which is why he connects so well and keeps defending our version of Loki. And speaking of Mobius and Owen Wilson, like, his presence or lack thereof was definitely missed in this episode. Like, I really love the banter and the connection and the chemistry between Owen Wilson and Loki, and the fact that he wasn't in this episode. Yeah, I was like, hey, where's Owen Wilson? Because the connection and the banter between Sylvie Lushton and Loki, like, I don't know, I didn't really feel the chemistry between the 2 of them. Like, the 2 of them didn't interest me as much as Mobius and Loki. We found out that Sylvie didn't have a connection to her mother like Loki had with his mother, and Sylvie learned magic by teaching. She taught herself how to learn magic, whereas Loki learned magic from his mother. And speaking of magic, like, I don't know what the hell was going on in this episode with the MCU and Loki's depiction of powers in this episode, because he showed way more magic in this one episode than he's shown in 3 Thor movies and 2 Avengers movies, and even in the past 2 episodes that we've gotten of this show. We're just like, where was all of this beforehand? He's shooting energy beams. He's levitating a whole giant fucking building that collapsed. Where's this Loki? I've been wanting this Loki since the first Thor movie. And I made a video, again, check out my YouTube shorts that I took from TikTok, but I made a whole video about the MCU version of Loki is vastly different from the comic book version of Loki. Like, comic book version of Loki is a very powerful sorcerer. Like, he's gone toe-to-toe with Doctor Strange and a bunch of other powerful magic users in the Marvel Comics universe. And not only just that, but comic book version of Loki is incredibly strong. But this version of Loki, despite being a god, like, he doesn't appear to be that strong. Like, there was a scene where him and Sylvie were kind of fighting for a little bit, and it seemed like Sylvie was way more powerful in terms of a fighter than even he was. But I'm like, was Loki's memories wiped of this magic? Because how is he shooting energy beams all of a sudden? Well, after we've seen him for like 10 plus years in other movies, and we've never seen him shoot an energy ball. The most we've seen him do is shapeshift. That's pretty much it. Like, where were the energy balls when you were fighting the Avengers or fighting Thor, or in Thor the Dark World when you were fighting Malekith? But again, with Marvel trying to give us representation without really giving us representation, they constantly tell us and not show us. But yeah, they actually did confirm that Loki, both Lokis, are bisexual. During this conversation that they were having in what I would call like the Star Wars Cantina, during the conversation that they were having in what I would call the Star Wars Cantina, Sylvie asked Loki, does he have a prince or a princess as a love interest? And he basically says, yes, he had both at one time, just like she has had both a prince and a princess. So it's like, you hear that, guys? Bisexuality, representation, right? You should be happy about the little crumbs that we're giving you. But, okay, like, I'm glad you told us, but I would like to see it, which is why I keep saying, Eternals, I'm looking at you, because they keep saying that, oh, there's going to be a gay Eternal and he's going to have a husband. And I'm just like, what are they going to show? Or what are they not going to show is what I'm really concerned about. They're probably not going to show anything. They're probably just going to be like a loving glance between the two characters and then that's it. I have no faith. I mean, hell, and I'm going to review this at some point, but I just saw the movie Luca, and that movie was hella queer coded, like without being queer. And that's just another example of representation without representation. But yeah, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, this episode ends with a cliffhanger. Like, I use cliffhanger in quotes because it's like they tried to escape the planet on this giant ship, but that ship ends up being destroyed by a straight chunk of rock from the moon, and all their chances of getting off the planet are hampered. And then it ends like, dun dun dun. Do you think they're gonna escape? Of course they're gonna escape because there's 3 episodes left. But yeah, like I said, overall I feel like this episode was a waste of time. I wasn't completely bored because, like I said, there were some great character moments and some great nuggets of information, like about the TVA and all the people in the TVA, the Minutemen being variants of whomever, and then the conversations between Loki and Loki. But like, yeah, overall, like, this was a nothing episode to me. So because of the character moments, because of the strong acting, specifically with Tom Hiddleston and things like that, I would say this episode is a low breaking even, which sucks because I really liked the first 2 episodes and I was excited to get to episode 3. I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then you get this, and I was like, oh, okay. But it's all subjective. Maybe you loved this episode of Loki. Maybe you thought it was much better than I did. So what did you think about this episode of Loki? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, if you can, please hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help out with the channel and the YouTube algorithm and getting my video and channel out there. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. Once again, guys, tonight, Wednesday, June 23rd, yeah, I will be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about episode 3 of Loki. I don't know where this conversation is going to go because, yeah, like I said, I don't really got much to say, but who knows? Bouncing off of Ron, who knows where that conversation to go? And then also you guys jumping in and talking in the chat. So yeah, come join me. Hopefully, like I said, I'll have this review up by noon or maybe before that. And then I'm taking my ass to sleep before I wake up to do this live because then I also work tonight. So literally right after I'm done with the live, I'm heading to work. So it's going to be a long day and I'm going to be tired. But yeah, anyway, check us out tonight. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.